much of anything on these thunderstorms. So now reports have confirmed damage, partial roof taken off in Boonville with that thunderstorm there. Now the thunderstorms and each of these little thunderstorms has a little interaction that we're watching here. None of them at this point are as strong as the thunderstorm that moved through Boonville a minute ago. But let's go to the wind mode on Storm Track Doppler radar. Let's assess this. And John, if we can double check to see if we have anything coming in on Twitter and Facebook here in a minute, we'll
Sure.
double check some of that just to make sure. Let's come in closer here on some of these. I'm going to have to kind of go back and forth a minute. There's just so many little interactions that we're watching, like the one near Baldwin there, south of Bethany there, in extreme northern Lee County. A little rotation on that one. Let's track that forward at a speed at 80 miles per hour. And we're going to get in the nearest term one for you in Baldwin, 4 minutes or less. As you can see, the update there. And that's the weird thing about it. See, the latest update there now, and that's not the latest update. Something happened on radar there, so we'll have to double check that. But that initial track there we had, I think, is pretty close on the positioning of that. Back to the west, Ecru, we're looking for you. Randolph, we're looking for you. Sarepta, each of these three. Wind, yes. I have a hard time saying tornado at this point with the rotation indications that we have had. There's certainly some interactions there going on near Pontotoc, but at this point it's pixel-to-pixel wind change on the north and west side of town that's 9 miles per hour. That's not a tornado, but that still might be, with the enhancement, that extra little push that it's giving, might be a wind gust that's up to around 60 miles per hour. So that's why you're under severe thunderstorm warning, not a tornado warning at this point. And looking back down along the line, it's the same thing on all of these. Some wind interactions, but at this moment, not tornadic interactions. So let's go back to our tornado warned thunderstorm, which does look as though it has, golly, north of Iuka there, really strengthened again. And this is actually a different one from the one we were watching just a minute ago here. This looks like this was connected to, north of Iuka there, 2 circulations on that. And that's the same thunderstorm that produced the damage in Boonville a minute ago. Now, I don't know if that's a radar issue, because we are getting some issues out of that Columbus radar, but both of those coming in at 152 mile per hour pixel-to-pixel wind change. Hopefully we're in our tornado safe place in Iuka, because that is significant if it is true. And even going back a scan, it was still pretty impressive up there. I mean, you're still talking back a scan over 100 mile per hour pixel-to-pixel wind change, so we have to assume that could be tornadoes on the ground at this moment north of Iuka. Because of how intense those returns are, I know this is not the most populated part of the viewing area, but I'm going to take a moment here. County Road 959, right over top of you. You can see that latest update now coming around just moments ago. Right on top of County Road 959. Rotation, pixel-to-pixel wind change that a moment ago was in excess of 100 miles per hour. That at this instant is in excess of 70 to 80 miles per hour. That's what makes me think that 150 was probably the radar having an issue there. But regardless, it's still wind gusts that are strong enough. You have to assume this could be a tornado up here in northern Tishomingo County, north and east of Iuka. There's still rotation on the part of this thunderstorm west of Iuka, but that rotation is not quite as impressive. And the part of it that's down toward Holka, again, rotation, yes, like we've said over and over again. And same thing back here along Highway 30 near Burton there, just east of that, north of Hobo Station, north of New Site there, where we're watching that pretty closely for you. But that's, again, straight line winds, not officially at this point something I can refer to as a tornado. Let's take a look here. Let's take a moment. Let's go out of our Tupelo Tower Cam. Let's show you what maybe you're able to see at home from some shots here. We're going to kind of interrogate this back and forth for a moment here as we look at rapidly moving clouds. First and foremost, most of what you see here are what meteorologists refer to as scary-looking clouds. And by that, I mean you have all this low-hanging stuff. This is probably a shelf cloud here. And that shelf cloud is associated with strong straight-line winds that are coming in the direction. They're actually probably heading more this direction. So what we're doing, John and I, is we're trying to look at some of these little fingers that are hanging down here from the thunderstorm to determine this direction here. We're looking, I believe that's back toward New Albany. Let me get my direction here perfect. Let's look northwest. Okay, so now looking northwest, I'm going to double check where we're at on radar here for a moment. So we're going to have to go back and forth with this a couple of times just to get a bearing on what this is actually looking like. Okay, so north would be Baldwin, so we're looking toward the one near Sherman. And so the two places at this moment where we're going to be looking toward the north and west, we're going to see Graves there for a second, and we're going to pan it toward that one. That's that shelf cloud we were looking at, that low-hanging cloud a moment ago. And the fact that that might be shelf, that might be wall cloud. We'll have to watch that here in a second. So now that we kind of have our bearings, even I have to get my bearings on this. Let's look at what we're looking at there. So this is the northern thunderstorm. Looks actually more organized on tower cam here than it looks in person on radar, which is something I guess you expect with some of these what we call low-topped supercells, low-top rotations on these thunderstorms here that we have in place. So at this point, I do not see anything that is making connection with the ground. We'll watch this closely. There are a couple areas there we have to be careful of. Now, let's pan this back toward the west a little bit more. You'll have to stick with me because the image here is going to get kind of grainy as we kind of pan this back in the direction of folks toward New Albany. Yes, John?
I'm looking at, just to check it east of Pontotoc, see what you think. This is looks interesting now.
Okay, am I looking on tower cam or looking on radar?
On the radar.
Okay, hold on a moment here.
Check the wind mode.
Check the wind mode east of Pontotoc. We'll come back to that in a second here. Okay, so you're talking just east of Pontotoc, northeast of Pontoc, right?
On the radar, on the wind mode, it's showing up. Well, I see it must be the southern part of that storm near, yeah.
Yeah, I see what you're talking about there. Yeah. I also see up there farther north as well. But yeah, so that's the part of this. I think that's the part of this thunderstorm we're looking into here out of our Tupelo Tower Cam, looking back in a westerly direction. I'm going to get it to go straight west here because at night it's hard for us. Let's find west. Give me just a moment. Okay, we're looking straight west at this point. So, okay, so we were still looking a moment ago there more toward New Albany and Blue Springs, so it was the northern of those thunderstorms. Now it's more toward Pontotoc there. That's still a view that I still see a gap there, even though we're looking a ways away. I still see a gap, so at this moment it does not look like, and unfortunately we have to go by the lights of some of the cities here, and this is what the spotters are dealing with there as well. I luckily don't see anything that's imminently a tornado at this moment, but certainly low-hanging clouds and certainly something we're going to have to monitor very, very closely out of this line. So, John, I'm going to let you stick with that for a moment here and certainly keep watching. Don't let me lose that Pontotoc County storm here. So let's reset. We haven't done that in a while. Let's talk about where we're at, what we're doing, and what we're seeing at this moment. First and foremost, tornado watches do continue for most of the WTVA viewing area, though we do expect some cancellations out here toward Yalobusha, Lafayette, sections of Marshall, Benton, Tippah counties here fairly soon because the threat for you has passed. And then more indications here still that we're going to have more warnings, probably issued at least severe thunderstorm warnings, which the Weather Service tonight is treating as pre-tornado warnings if they have to. They're putting that tag in there, tornado possible, in a lot of these tonight. But we do still have tornado warnings that do continue up here for the extreme northeastern section of the WTVA viewing area. In effect, that do include sections still of Alcorn, Prentiss, and Tishomingo counties, though it's really Tishomingo County that we are concentrated on still under this tornado warning at this moment. And that tornadic part of this thunderstorm here is just along the Alabama state line, the extreme northeastern tip of the state of Mississippi, crossing that at this moment. So as this crosses that political boundary, we're going to pass this over to the folks in Huntsville. WAFF does a great job out that direction. WAAY, a number of stations over there in Huntsville. You can check them out. They will take care of you there. So we're going to pass that off to them. Iuka, you are in the clear from this most recent tornado warning. I mean, still stay in a safe structure, but you don't necessarily have to be sheltered at this exact second. Now, a new severe thunderstorm warning, still with that tag tornado possible, issued a moment ago based on some of these thunderstorms we were analyzing out of our Tupelo Tower Cam a moment ago that does extend eastward here. That in effect until 12:45 a.m. That does include much of Tishomingo County, at least the southern half, Tishomingo proper there, Moores Mill, north of Fulton there in Itawamba County, Prentiss County, the locations there south of Boonville, Saltillo, as well as back toward some sections of Union County there, northern Pontotoc County. So a lot of counties clipped by that warning there. The tag's still tornado possible because of that possible rotation. We go back to our Tupelo Tower Cam here and we poke and prod this thunderstorm a little bit more with the possibility that maybe we end up seeing something out of this, that the storm spotters have a hard time. We're fortunate that with this camera we can leave it to where it lets light in for a little bit longer. Certainly lots of low-hanging clouds there. I don't imminently see, as we look toward a couple of these circulations, any tornadoes out of this. Fingers crossed we can. I hope I say that 1,000 more times tonight. If I find it annoying, I'm sorry, but haven't had tornado, don't, not sure, not looking for sure like it. All those things are good signs, and hopefully we can keep the say all those as opposed to we're confirming tornado out of this. But thankfully at this moment, lots of low-hanging stuff, nothing that I can confirm to be a tornado, and hopefully we can keep it that way. Let's minimize that. Let's look at the various little rotations out of that. And before we go to all those, I'm going to come back here to Bruce for a moment. What is solidly the strongest of these thunderstorms over top of Bruce at this second here, looking at the wind mode on Storm Track Doppler radar. Thankfully, the wind mode does not confirm, even though the precip mode shows it's the heaviest. I think part of the reason for that is you have enough precipitation there and it's cold enough air aloft, and that just overpowers any circulation. So it has to be a delicate balance. We're not quite getting that delicate balance out of this. As delicate as a tornado can be. John has a storm report here coming in on these thunderstorms. John?
Janice Judon via Facebook reporting from the New Albany area, Twin Creeks area, 178 and I-22 area. We are sitting in the middle of light poles down and doors off of homes. Now this is a report. She has a picture that's in nighttime. I'm going to get it on Twitter here very shortly.
If you get it on Twitter, let me know, yes, and I will get it on.
It's not a clear picture, obviously, beginning this night, but she is claiming again, that some light poles are down and doors off of homes in New Albany.
In New Albany. So does she have a time frame in which that came in?
Does not. I will ask her, and I will try to see if we can get a time frame.
Okay, we'll try to get that on there. I appreciate that. Appreciate all your reports. And, you know, 2 seconds after I say we haven't had a lot, that comes in. So hopefully we don't have a lot more. So that thunderstorm there, we've had a number that have moved through New Albany, so it'd be hard to nail down exactly which of those it ended up being. But certainly there have been a number of those that have shown signs of rotation, and still most of those are out here toward Baldwin, the one near Graves, the other one near Reese, all moving east. That speed on all of them is about 80 miles per hour, so it's moving very, very quickly. They are toward the north and east. Finally starting to get into a little rainfall here. That's going to start impeding our viewpoint here in a moment. So you can see our WTVA studios there. Let's look back toward the west on this out of our Tupelo Tower Cam here. And let's get that straight west, because that'll give us a better angle now. I'm going to change this to where it's a little more friendly to moving so we can get better angle here. Okay, so we're looking back almost straight west at that point there. The rain's starting to pick up. You can kind of see that low-hanging cloud there. That's one of them we're going to have to watch for maybe a little bit of wind interaction. You can see the cords on our power, the cables on our tower there kind of bobbing back and forth there as we're looking around. Certainly some of these low-hanging clouds you're going to see here in just a second here out of our Tupelo Tower Cam. And it looks like what you're looking at is actually hanging just a little bit behind what I'm showing there on the air. For whatever reason, that's just a moment or two behind. So here's that cable's bobbing. John, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it off that tower cam. Will you restart that window?
Okay. And
log it back in, because there's a little bit of a delay there.
Ms. Judon in New Albany reports that happened around 11:19. Around 11:19.
11:19 is when that happened. So right now we are at 11:43. Again, like we said earlier, knowing which one of these is doing what it's doing is important, because that tells us which one to pay close attention to. And so that one was the thunderstorm. Okay, so 11:19 near Baldwin at 11:30. And that is the one that's just north of Marietta now. So it's not as impressive as it was then, but notice it's still one of them that has a little rotation showing up. We go to the wind mode on Storm Track Doppler radar near Marietta, possibly just north of it, 54 miles per hour out of one of those thunderstorms. So still could be producing at least strong straight line winds and possibly enough rotation to try to produce a tornado. And I apologize, by the way, for all those folks who want to watch Saturday Night Live and you're watching me instead. This is a situation on this night. We say a lot of maybes and possiblies, and we don't know for sures. But these reports of damage continue to come in. And some of these reports, many of these reports, probably most of these reports are going to be straight line wind damage as opposed to tornado damage. But a 60 mile per hour tornado which that would be an EF0 tornado, and a 60-mile-per-hour wind gust both cause damage because of the wind associated with those. So looking directly over top of Tishomingo proper there, and what we show is rotation, yes, but I don't know that I could imminently call that a tornado at this moment. It's right over top of Tishomingo, moving toward the east at about 80 miles per hour, as has been the recent case with most of these. So Tishomingo now, Carter Branch in 3 minutes, Maud in 5 minutes, and Petertown in about 5 minutes as well. Rotation on that, I'd say 60-mile-per-hour winds. I don't know that I can necessarily make the argument for tornadoes. Yes, John? We're back up and going. Okay, I'm going to go wide, make sure we're not missing something, because southern Pontotoc County there, now a little more interaction showing up on that. Anything from our North Mississippi storm chasers and spotters reports here? Okay, some interactions there at southern Pontotoc County. That's not overly impressive. So here's a way we're going to look west and northwest out of our Tupelo Tower Cam now. I'm going to have to kind of rotate it back around to get it there, because this is going to be looking the heart of one of these, and this will tell us a lot about what we should be expecting. Because let's go to the low light mode. It's going to kind of pop on there. So we're right at this moment underneath the belly of this one. Okay, so we have, now that is light reflecting on clouds. So even though this has a shape of something, and you say that shape might be a funnel, it's not. That's not a funnel cloud there. Even though it kind of has that shape. It's a cloud that's peculiar. It's one we got to watch closely, but that's not, at this moment, a funnel cloud. I'm gonna click this through a couple different modes here, see if I can get a better shot, but if that might be the best one we're going to catch. Okay, so let's go. It's probably passed us over at this moment, and this is going to be the angle. We'll come back to this in 2 minutes, because we'll actually be able to see out of that camera in 2 minutes, because that's pretty much straight north now. We're kind of blocked by the tower north. Northeast is where we'll have a better shot of it, so that'll be in about the next minute and a half. So we'll come back to that. Let's track that ahead for Saltillo. Again, wind gusts 55, 60 miles per hour. At this moment, I hesitate to say tornado, but Saltillo, that'd be the middle of town there. We're talking 2 minutes, so a lot of neighborhoods out there already impacted by that. Okay, so back down the line. Now these are all a little less organized back here than some of those were a little bit ago. So thankfully, that's kind of a good sign there. By the way, wind's real picking up here at the television station at this moment. So that's that rotation coming right over top of us at this time, but it's rotation that at this moment is likely more straight line winds than anything else. And John, did you end up tweeting that picture of the damage?
Right now, I was trying to get, the storm spotters are headed that way to get a confirmation.
Oh, I thought we had a picture from the person. Okay, we'll double check. Let's double check that. Okay. You're absolutely right. Okay, so back here on Tupelo Tower Cam, you can see now it's moving all over the place. And let's go ahead and move this just a little bit, as you're kind of able to see with some of the lights here, some of that low-hanging interaction there. So this would be the area where there would be some of the rotation. As we look northward, that'd be Saltillo, pretty much, that'd be kind of the east side of Saltillo there. So this would be like looking northward towards Saltillo. Certainly wind picking up here at the television station, and some low-hanging stuff. But there's nothing, I mean, you can see there's a well-defined gap here between cloud and ground. You'd see something there if we had a tornado. We don't. So let's not dilly-dally on a tower cam shot that's not showing us that, even though you can see the water droplets being directed across this. We'll revisit that here in a moment just in case. But certainly that's rotation. That is not a tornado at this time. Okay, so let's do an overall assessment of where we stand as of right now. Current time is 11:49. Meteorologist Matt Laubhan along meteorologist John DeLusick. We have had tornado warnings. We have tornado watches still in effect, and we have a line of strong straight line winds. I would say more than anything else, that is what we are concerned with at this point. Straight line winds out of this line of thunderstorms as it moves toward the east with a speed that's still up there in that 65 to 70 mile per hour range at the slowest, and we have had some storms that have moved as fast as 80 miles per hour. So it's incredibly fast. Things change very quickly in this environment, and has everything to do with strong winds aloft over top of this that are causing some of the issues we have. The other impact we need to mention is that behind this there is still some potential that we could be seeing maybe just a little wintry mix try to develop later tonight. I'd be interested to see if we can confirm any reports out of Memphis there, out of some of that little pink showing up. But there's the possibility, as crazy as this may sound, that you have rotations that are practically tornadoes, if not straight line winds, in northern Tishomingo County just a few minutes ago. And then within the next 3-4 hours, you might have just a little bit of sleet or possibly freezing drizzle. If that happens, bridges and overpasses would be the places we'd be concerned. Let's be honest, we hit mid-70s today. What did we get to the high to, John? Have we even checked?
I have not checked.
Here, I mean, we've been a little
lower 70, 72 or 73. But let me check.
I'll double check. I'll pop it up here. I guess 72 here, 79 in Columbus. The reason why that is important is that elevated some of the ground temperatures. So surface-based roads, in all likelihood, are probably going to be okay. But bridges and overpasses in that winter weather advisory zone right near the Tennessee state line, there could be a few of those that are a little slippery tomorrow morning. And temperatures are going down. These are high temperatures today. Behind this front, and this is what's making this tricky, is this front is continually undercutting any of the storms. I mean, look at this. You go from 70 in Tupelo, what do we got here, to 37 in Oxford. That Holly Springs temperature hasn't updated because it's 39 in Corinth, it's 37 in Oxford. I mean, think about that a second here. 72 in Iuka, it's 39 degrees in Corinth. So what happens is that cold air is coming underneath, and so you might have a rotation that briefly tries to produce a tornado, like some of these that we've looked at out of our Tupelo Tower Cam here, where yeah, this is rotation, but then that cold air coming out here is undercutting that. And so as soon as that rotation tries to get close to the ground, it cuts underneath. Yes, John. Our meteorologist, John DeLucic.
Picture from Miss Judon in New Albany is online right now.
Okay.
It's a storm door. It looks like storm door just been taken off of the front.
Okay. So let's pull that up here for folks at home. And what we're looking at here is, you said it looks like a storm door that's taken off of a, might be a storm door taken off of a mobile home there. Yet another reason why, even in straight line winds, we have to be concerned that there could be some damage. It doesn't just take tornadoes. Sometimes it could just be straight line winds. John, appreciate that report. And who did that come from just a minute ago?
Janice Judon from New Albany.
Janice Judon. Appreciate that, Janice. And of course, your storm reports, you can tweet those at us, Facebook at us, post them in our Facebook Live, and we appreciate that. I appreciate that for all those folks there. Okay, so let me check a few things here. Let's go back to the Doppler radar, storm track Doppler at this moment. What we have are severe thunderstorm warnings. And we've had only severe thunderstorm warnings for about 10 minutes now. So now is that moment where we need to make the decision whether or not we're going to continue our continuous coverage here with tornado possibles mentioned in some of the discussions here, as opposed to continuing to go nonstop for this. So what we're going to do is I'm going to look at a couple of these thunderstorms where tornadoes still mentioned as possible. And that would be, for example, the thunderstorm where that arrow is pointed right there west of Tupelo. And that's just mentioned because of the rotation that has developed on that. And so there is still some rotation on that. The pixel-to-pixel wind change not as impressive as some, but still in that 47 mile per hour realm. That's enough we have to monitor and watch, and that buys us a few more minutes here of monitoring that thunderstorm specifically. Let's look at that from our Tupelo Tower Cam. And even though it's night, and even though it's not the prettiest thing we're going to look at least it gives us kind of an idea. I mean, you can see the wind there as it's bouncing around. That's going to impede our ability to see a whole lot, unfortunately. I mean, you can just see just in the clouds how quick the clouds themselves are moving. The winds aloft are 80 miles per hour plus, and so that helps push the storms that quickly as well. So we'll monitor this more here in a minute as those storms get closer as we look back toward the west. We're looking back toward the west. That'd be looking back toward the Love's truck stop. A lot of folks know that along I-22. This would be Barnes Crossing Road, that new Barnes Crossing Road that they extended out there that went over the Natchez Trace there back to West Tupelo. That's the direction we're looking out of this. So this will become a lot more enlightening here pretty quickly, but at this moment it's still watching and waiting. One thing that has changed here just in the last couple moments is our tornado watch. The National Weather Service in Memphis now doing what we mentioned they probably would do pretty soon, and that is canceling out some counties, Lafayette, County, as well as Yallobusha County, Tippah County, Alcorn County, all now removed from our tornado watch. That coldest air undercuts, once that happens, you're done. And so soon enough, it'll be Union County, Prentiss County, Calhoun County, but we still have some time for some of those folks because thunderstorms continue to be ongoing for those locations at this moment. And the strongest of those, let's go to Calhoun County. And just eastern Calhoun County, northeast Calhoun County, near Buckhorn and Pontotoc County, approaching Algoma. Again, these are just moving so fast, I can't say that enough, so it's hard for even me to keep them straight at this point. And the rotation on this one, not as impressive as some, and that has kind of been its story at this point, but there's still some areas where maybe there's a little rotation there along County Road 408. At least 55-mile-per-hour winds out of this, perhaps 60-mile-per-hour winds or greater moving toward the east. There will be some reports of damage because of this as this moves toward the east. But at this moment, I wouldn't say that that is imminently in the next few minutes going to produce a tornado, but things change quickly. Let's go northwest. Let's go toward the Zion community. This would be west of Tupelo. So you can see Tupelo behind me here. We're looking west. This right there would be Highway 6278. There, depending on what you want to go ahead and call it, both. And the rotation on that, we're also showing just a little bit on this one on the northwest part. That'd be near the Belden area. That's looking toward that Love's truck stop we were looking at a moment ago. And the wind mode on these two both show some signs of rotation, more on the north one there. Only 30 miles per hour, so I don't like saying the word rotation, rotation, rotation. We've said it enough tonight. But it's a lot better than me saying tornado, tornado, tornado. And this is not a tornado. There's still some interactions, but this is not a tornado. Let me say that again. Let's go to Tupelo Tower Cam. Some interactions there. That's not a tornado. Okay? So here's what we are going to do. We are going to suspend on NBC WTVA, WLOV, on Me TV and This TV. We're going to keep, hold on, 55? Nope, we're going to stay on all of them. Unconfirmed report just coming in just a moment ago here from a spotter on Spotter Network of a funnel cloud 5 miles northeast of Furs in Pontotoc County. So let's go ahead and look a little closer at that on Storm Track Doppler radar. Because if we're getting funnel cloud reports, let's just see if we can and double check that. And that would have been 55 after. It'd be pretty much right now. But they're moving so fast it could be either thunderstorm. So we wouldn't be able to see this one from our Tupelo Tower Cam yet because we'd be looking into this first one here near Coley. But a report of a funnel cloud there that'd be near the Zion community, Furs and Zion, pretty close together there. Report of a funnel cloud out of this just a couple of minutes ago. Now, just because these storms can produce funnels, and they've done a lot of that today, the cold air has already undercut this. And so it's difficult to shove through that and get that circulation all the way to the surface. But that doesn't mean it isn't going to happen. And so we're looking right over top of Furs. That's a possibility there. And right behind my I-22 sign, just west of our television station there, that has spiked up just a moment ago. 117 miles per hour. Let's just double check that. That would be, now see, sometimes the radar site sees the cars going along I-22 and it picks that up. That might be what we're dealing with there. Let's go ahead and track it. Let's catch some folks here, including the TV station in 2 minutes. Let's look out of that Tupelo Tower Cam here. We're looking straight west. And let's look out of this, see if we can catch something. If we were under tornado warning, everyone here in the TV station would be heading for cover at this moment. But right now what I'm looking at when I'm looking straight west out of this is I'm looking into rain. I'm not seeing anything that resembles a circulation at this moment. This would be the spot right here that we would be watching. And so moving 80 miles per hour, it's probably getting here right now. You're looking with me. And certainly we have some strong winds. You can see now I have winds that are out of the northwest at this moment with it. Meaning whatever it is, whatever it was, whatever it could have been, is pretty much right on top of me. And while there's certainly some wind with this, I don't see a tornado on this tower cam at this moment, which is a good sign. What this darker area here we're looking at, that's the edge of some of that heavier rainfall. Even I'm going to take a second here and watch it just to make sure. You can also see some low-hanging clouds there, kind of the edge of what might be a little shelf cloud on this mini supercell there. But that's the zone there we're watching, and the raindrops are kind of getting in the way there. But thankfully, if we're in the rain, when things are coming down out of it, you're typically not in the right spot to be seeing a tornado. But the fact that we got that funnel cloud report on one of them west is something concerning. Continue to watch. And so here's the thing. As a storm spotter, do you call this a funnel cloud? I mean, probably not. In the daylight, you'd have a better vantage point on it, but we have this thing wide open. It does not look this bright if we went outside right now. But these little fingers hanging down, you're going to have a little twisting and turning with it just because of what we call wind shear. But we don't have that twisting and turning extending all the way down to the ground on this.
Just
John, yes.
On one, I've got that little, just take a look at that, right to the south of Tupelo, just a little spike up of something.
Okay, you have it on one. I'm going to pull up one. I have one on screen there. I see. Are you talking about over Verona?
Yeah, Verona and Tupelo. Do you think there's something
do you think that that's again on 45?
Zion, that's maybe a little. If you backtrack back a ways to Furs and Zion.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead back.